بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أما بعد قال المؤلف رحمه الله تعالى الكبير الثالثة والستون الطيرة ويحتمل أن لا تكون كبيرة. The author Al-Hafidh Al-Dhahabi rahimahullah, he says major sin number 63 الطيرة. He says الطيرة, which can be translated to mean in English superstition, or depending upon luck, or depending upon different signs to make you choose and decide what to do. Superstition and luck. The word at-tiyara, and sometimes at-tatayyur, basically means good or bad luck, and to look for signs, places, people, colors, smells, tastes, directions that tell you whether you have good luck or bad luck, that indicate good or ill fortune, and to depend upon those signs, whether it's a horseshoe, a rabbit's foot, whether it's the hooting of an owl at night, whether it is Groundhog's Day. Allahu Alam, is Groundhog's Day something that's scientific, the shadow, the direction of the groundhog, or is it just pure superstition? A four-leaf clover, spilling milk, spilling salt. And I'm sure our brothers and sisters who come from different countries, the islands, the Caribbean, Jamaica, Guyana, Trinidad, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Guinea, Gambia, Ivory Coast, South Africa, wherever the different ethnic backgrounds, the different parts of the world that many Muslims come from and live in New York City, I'm sure if you all sat down, you could add many more things that I mentioned. Things that are popular and common in American superstition, like a horseshoe, or an owl, or the Groundhog's Day, and things like this. And I'm sure you can mention different things, a snail, this, that, so on and so forth, from different cultures and different backgrounds, which is something that's universal among all people. Blacks, whites, yellow, red, Muslim, Jew, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, in which people have different signs of good or bad fortune. And people, they differ and they vary on their dependence upon those signs. Some people are very, very, very superstitious. Others just look at it as, something that's from the culture. It's well known, but I don't believe in it. I don't depend upon it. There's no such thing as luck. There's no such thing as bad luck. We're going to go out there and we're going to fight. We're going to go out there and we're going to play. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. But my grandmother, different story. My grandfather, different story. I believe in Tawheed. And with the Kitab, the Quran, the Hadith clearly say about Tawheed and Shirk. But my grandfather from Pakistan is what? Different story. You can't come into his house with something on your head. If you steal this, heather. If you say this in front of my Christian grandmother, she becomes very, very, very upset. What happened there? So the author, he says, this concept here, at-tiyara or tatayyur, is from the major sins. He then says, and it's also a possibility that it's not a major sin. It's also a possibility that it isn't a major sin. And obviously, anyone who studied Arabic, you've lived overseas, you lived in Saudi, you lived in Egypt, you went to Syria, you went to Mali, you come from Mali. If you study Arabic, you obviously know that the word tiyara or at-tatayyur is similar to another popular word in Arabic, and that is a bird, a tayr. Tayrun. Everyone understand this? As Allah tells us in the Quran Kareem about the people of the elephant. Right? Tayran ababil. So the word tayr is a bird. Tayyara is an airplane. Everyone understand this? Or a helicopter. Everyone understand this? Ta'ira or tayyara, helicopter, something that flies, something that flaps. Whether it's a wing, man-made, or the natural creation. It's moving, it's soaring with hot air, cold air, so on and so forth. Something that is what? Flying. So the reason why the bird or the flying object, an insect, a gnat, a bug, everybody understand this? What's the word? A lightning bug. We call them, I don't know, you may call them different things. The lightning bugs, the bugs that glow, you put them in a jar, you catch them when you're a little kid. Maybe they have other names. We just call them lightning bugs. Everybody understand this? What do you call them in Boca?
Lightning bugs.
Lightning bugs. Saleh.
Firefly.
Firefly. I knew something else. Anybody else? No other words. Sheikh Khan. You got a lightning bug?
Aliens.
An alien. Oh, Akbar. Here we go. Anybody else got any other words? Huh? We would consider a firefly to be different. And we call those lightning bugs. Not bugs that light, but lightning, like, huh? Hayden, inshallah. You catch them in a jar, you put them in your hand, and let them go. So what's important is there anything that flies? And the relation between the linguistical meaning and the technical Islamic meaning is two ways of looking at it. The first is obviously a bird. And the pagan Arabs, when they wanted to go out and fight, they wanted to travel, make Hajj, go to Syria with a caravan, make a trade with the Ethiopians, make a peace agreement with the people in Yemen, the Christians, the Romans, whatever major event that they wanted to do, they would sometimes carry with them a bird in a cage. And they would either let the bird out the cage and let it to fly naturally, or they would shake up the cage and push it out the cage, stir it up. And if the bird went right, say we go to war with this clan. If the bird went left, no. Delay the war. We need more time before we go to battle. It's a sign of bad luck. We're going to lose. One of our leaders, our chieftains, is going to be killed. Something's going to happen. It's bad luck. Everybody clear on this? Or a gazelle, or any other animal that will go right or go left or stop or stay still. But mainly they will use a bird, a tayr. So the concept of depending upon the action of the bird, tatayyara yatatayyaru tatayyuran. Everybody understand this? He's going by the movement of this flying thing. Like good luck. Last night I heard an owl whooting outside my house, so whooping. I said, it's bad luck. I'm not going to work today. Everybody understand this? This is a reality. Or you see a black widow spider. Everybody understand this? Or you see a gecko crawling across the wall. You say that's a sign of what? Bad luck. Or a 4-leaf clover. How rare is that? Not a 3-leaf clover, but a what? 4-leaf clover. This is in reality, that's something that's very rare. And they consider that to be a sign of what? Good fortune or rainbow, whatever the case may be. So therefore, that's one meaning. The second meaning is الطير أو تطير ما يتطاير به الإنسان. يعني يتمائل. What direction a person sways and goes in. تطاير. Everybody understand this? What's your direction of life? It could be a donkey, it could be a horse, it could be a chicken, it could be a rat, it could be a cat, a black cat. And that's another one. I don't know how we felt, to mention that. A black cat. In modern times is a major sign of bad luck and evil and sorcery. In ancient Egypt, a black cat was a sign of nobility. And there were some cats, whether they were black or not, they were worshipped. They were considered to be deities. And they would be buried and mummified with their what?
Leaders.
With those cats. The pharaoh, they would be what? Mummified with the cats. They would make the cat a mummy as well, a cat mummy. Khairan, inshallah. That's just off the topic. There are many things that in modern culture in America people look down upon. But in ancient Egypt, it was the exact what? Opposite. Or the opposite as well. Something that's praiseworthy back then was a sign of evil. Khairan, inshallah. We're not here to talk about the ancient Egyptians. What's important is, this is where the word, or where it's derived from, and why it means this, and why we said tayr or tatayr. So that's what it basically means, good luck or bad luck. The author says it's possible for it to be a major sin, and it's also possible for it to be what? Not to be a major sin. Ibn al-Qayyim says here in the footnotes, the Muhaqqiq, he says, قال ابن القيم في إعلام الموقعين ذكر الجزء والصفحة قال بتحقيقي ويحتمل أن تكون أي طيرة من الكبائر وأن يكون دونها. He says, Ibn al-Qayyim says, it's a possibility that this act is a major sin or less than a major sin. And obviously you may say, well, I thought superstition was shirk and kufr, an act of polytheism and disbelief, to say that something can give you good or bad luck. Something can bring you good or bad luck. At-tatayyur, one way or another, if you depend upon it and use it, it's going to be some type of shirk, one way or another, if you use it and depend upon it. And that is, if you feel and think that the thing itself is what brings you harm and brings you protection, then obviously that's shirk akbar. That's major polytheism. You've left the fold of Islam if you believe that and you practice that. As far as if a person believes that Allah Azza wa Jal, huwa nafi' al-dar, He is the one who causes harm and causes benefit. He's the one who gives. He is the one who withholds. He is the one Azza wa Jal that protects And he is the one who forsakes and leaves the people by themselves. He protected this one in a car accident, and this one was decreed to be what? Forsaken and left to be injured in a car accident. And I believe this about Allah Azza wa Jal, but I do believe that a four-leaf clover is a sign of this barakah. I do believe that this black cat is a bad sign not to go here. I do believe that a pigeon or a white dove or a turtle dove, is a sign of so on and so forth. Everybody clear on this or not? I do believe that. If a person believes that, then that's shirk asghar. That's minor shirk. And that's because, as the ulama, the people of knowledge, they say, جَعَلَ شَيْئًا سَبَبًا لَمْ يَشْرَعْهُ اللَّهُ وَلَا رَسُولُهُ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ. To make something a means and a reason that Allah and His Messenger did not make a means and a reason is shirk asghar. And the general rule of shirk asghar is that in most cases there are statements that lead to major shirk. And in other things as well. Khayran, inshallah. So if you believe that the thing itself is the benefiter or the benefactor or the one that caused you harm, then that's what? Shirk akbar. If it's just superstition that you believe in, that's a sign and Allah is in charge, then that's what? Shirk asghar. It's minor shirk. Khayran, inshallah. The first hadith that the author mentions, hadith number 387 or 386, the author, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, وعن سلمة بن كهيل عن عيسى بن عاصم عن زر عن عبد الله قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الطيرة شرك وما منا إلا ولكن الله يذهبه بالتوكل صححه الترمذي قال سليمان بن حرب وما منا إلا هو من قول ابن مسعود. He says here, narrated Salama ibn Kuhail from Isa ibn Asim from Zir يعني ibn Hubaysh. هذا يسمى ايش؟ What's this called in hadith science? زر عن زر. I taught you. You forgot. You didn't cherish what I gave you. That's not what I taught you. I gave you a gym. And you do what? You leave it on the sidewalk for somebody to what? Pick it up. What are you supposed to do with it, Sheikh? Supposed to take the gym and do what? Stuff it deep into his pouch in his pocketbook, or a purse or a pocket. Value it, treasure it, now. And your purse is where? No doubt. Everybody understand this? This in science and hadith is called what? Muhmal. Muhmal. Zir ibn Man. Muhmal. Naam. Hadathana Muhammad. Naam. Even though Zir, or also Qutayba, in most cases is going to be من الأفراد, from the names that no other people have. ولكن خير إن شاء الله. Moving forward. Narrated Zir, who is Ibn Qubaysh, who reported from Abdullah, and that's also what? Muhmal. Abdullah, man, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Amr ibn al-As, Ibn Zubayr, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. How do we know that Zir is Ibn Qubaysh? How do we know that if he narrates from Abdullah to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud? Science in itself. What's important is that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "At-tayyaratu shirkun." He says, this act is shirk. وَمَا مِنَّا إِلَّا. Listen carefully to the hadith. It says, and there isn't anyone from among us except. There isn't anyone from among us except. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يُذْهِبُهُ بِالتَّوَكُّلِ. But Allah Azza wa Jalla, He takes it out of the heart by putting the trust in Him. Allah takes it out of the heart by you what? Putting your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sulaiman ibn Harb, he says, when he said, وَمَا مِنَّا إِلَّا, the part of the hadith that says, and there isn't anyone from among us except, he says that's not what the Prophet said. But that's the statement of Ibn Mas'ud. That's the statement of what? Ibn Mas'ud. The Prophet didn't say that part of the hadith. The Prophet only said what? الطيرة شرك ولكن الله يذهبه بالتوكل. And the middle part is called what? Another important science of hadith. We call this what? Al-Mudraj. We call this what? Mudraj. يعني أدخل في المتن وليس من كلام صاحب المتن الذي هو الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام. It's a statement of somebody else that was interpolated, or whatever word you want to use. It was inserted. It was placed into the actual what? Text. Intentionally or unintentionally. It could be placed intentionally, يعني كتفسير, explaining something or extracting something. Or it could be done something intentionally, someone who's fabricating something. Here, obviously, that's not the case. As if the hadith goes like this. At-tiyaratu shirkun. Tiyara is shirk. Ibn Mas'ud is clarifying to the people, all of us have some type of what?
Superstition.
Not necessarily superstition, but some type of what? Good and bad feeling. Fairness? A good and bad what? Feeling. You look for a house. You buy a house. You go inside the house. The first thing that happens, something falls off the floor from the ceiling. Everybody understand this? You make salah. You believe Allah is the only one in control. But as soon as you walk in the house of Muhammad, what? Something falls down. Human nature is to be what? To say what? Not this place. Oh no, it's nothing. The nail fell. Right, no problem. It's a beautiful house now, but it just mysteriously fell down. Then you walk into the kitchen and the lights go off. Then you go outside to the backyard and you step on a step and the step breaks. These are all signs in your mind and your heart that what?
This house is no good.
It's not, no, not, this house is not no good. But what? This house is not for me. It don't have to be bad, but the house is not what? I'm not buying the house. And the house may be perfectly fine. And it's the qadr of Allah. It was decreed for the time for you to walk in, for that thing to fall off the wall. And it was just a screw that fell or a nail. That's it. But you as a human being is going to say what? It just doesn't work? Everybody understand this or not? It's the exact opposite. You walk into a house, you're trying to buy the house. As soon as you come to the house, the sun beams through the windows. It was cloudy, it was raining, it stopped raining, and the sun came through the window. You're going to say, oh, subhanAllah. Is this not the case? Or this is a reality now. You walk into the kitchen, okay, and all of a sudden, a what? Hummingbird comes into the window from the window from outside, or a butterfly, beautiful butterfly. Everyone understand this? You're going to say, oh, subhanAllah, this is barakah. And you have your little daughter with you. She says, oh, look, Abby, it's a butterfly. Let's get this house. It doesn't mean that you're superstitious, but this is, in your mind, you're going to say this is alamat ish. Oh, this has some type of barakah in his house. Even though a butterfly does not signify or not. But you is going to see a good sign or what? Bad sign. Everybody understand this? You're going somewhere, you're in the airport. It just doesn't feel right. I left my bag home. I never leave my bag home. I left my cell phone in the car. The line was held up. This happened, that happened. It just doesn't what? Doesn't feel right. Something doesn't what? Doesn't feel right. And the exact opposite. You're going somewhere and everything is going smooth. You're running late. Allah allowed you to get on the train that goes to Terminal L34 just before the door closed. And you thought you were going to be late. You thought you were going to miss your flight. And everything worked out smoothly. You say, alhamdulillah. That's a sign of good or a sign of what? Not so good. In whose mind? The slave's mind. Are we agree on this or not? No doubt about this. You sit down with the sister, you're talking with her, and it's just, everything is going, this happens and that happens, and it just doesn't work, so it doesn't feel right. I don't feel too comfortable about this. And it's not the same as her smiling. It's not the same as this and that. You feel, wow, inshallah, steps proving that something's what? Something's good or something's bad. So Ibn Mas'ud, in this narration, he says, وَمَا مِنَّا إِلَّا. None of us, there isn't any from among us except what? There's some type of what? Ta'alluq. There's some type of what? Ta'alluq. Some type of connection that you make with signs, with things. Everybody clear on this or not? Everybody clear on this? And Sulaiman ibn Harb, this narrative, he's saying that this is not from the statement of what? The Prophet did not say this. Whether it's true or not, but it's not something that resembles the what? The Prophet's speech. For the Prophet to wish to abolish something and then say something like this. Am I clear on this or not? The last part of the hadith says, but Allah Azza wa Jalla, He takes it away with what? Tawakkul. So you walk into the house, the thing falls down, but it's a good house. The price is good, the yard is huge, it's a lot, it's a front yard, it's a good location. You've been looking for a house that was outside of New York City, so on and so forth. So don't even worry about the thing falling from the floor. Don't even worry about it. Bismillah. No superstition, no luck. You want to do what? Say what?
Bismillah.
Bismillah, and you get the house. Everybody clear on this or not? Everybody got this? He says, but Allah takes it away because of what? Tawakkul. There's no doubt. It just doesn't feel right. Sun is not right. But I made my decision. I'm going and I'm traveling today. Even though it's raining and it's cloudy, it's a thunderstorm, I've done what? I made my decision. After you've made your decision, you thought about it. Should I go today? Should I go next week? Should I do it? Maybe not. You've thought about it. You made it istikhara. You've done all that you can. Once you've made your decision, only one thing remains, and that's what? Tawakkul. Bismillah. I've prepared myself. Anything that happens is going to what? There's no turning back now because you already made your decision. You set up for days, for weeks, you studied, you planned, you strategized. Everybody understand this? You said, you looked at the prices, the cost, the hotel we can stay. I've made my decision, I want to go. So now, if it's a storm, a thunderstorm, there's no turning back. It's now what? Bismillah. Anything that happens to me is only going to be what? Decree by Allah. Everybody got this? It's the concept of tawakkul. There's nothing more that you can physically do as a human being for preparation. Everybody come this or not? Right, inshallah. The author says this hadith is collected and authenticated by Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah ta'ala. And the hadith clearly says that tiyara is what? Shirk. And if it's considered to be shirk, then it's, of course, from the major sins. Khair inshallah. Akbar or asghar. He says here, وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا عدوى ولا طيرة وأحب الفأل قيل يا رسول الله وما الفأل قال الكلمة الطيبة صحيح. The author says that the Prophet ﷺ, he also said there is no adwa, la adwa. And he says and there's no tira. We explained what the word tira is. The word adwa is basically a disease or sickness. Whether it be something that afflicts a human being, or whether it's something that afflicts a horse or a camel. The camel gets sick. Everybody understand this? And you believe that this sickness has the ability and the power to just jump from one camel to the next. Not that it's contagious or infectious. No. But the disease itself, as if the disease has some type of mind of its own. Everybody understand this? And the disease jumps from one camel to the next by itself and wreak havoc upon your camel pen. One camel is sick, and next to know, all of a sudden what? You're going to have 7 camels sick 3 days later. Everybody understand this? So in this hadith, the Prophet says there's none of this. There's no such thing as a disease having a mind of its own and jumping from one camel to the next. That's shirk. That's kufr. That's from what? The people of what? Jahiliyyah. The pagan Arabs, they believed in that as an act of superstition. And it does not necessarily mean, as it's in other hadiths, that there isn't a such thing as infection or contagious. No, things are contagious. And try your best to prevent what? The spreading of a sickness or an illness. Everybody understand this? Of an infection. Everybody clear this or not? As it states in the hadith, فِرَّ مِنَ الْمَجْذُومِ إيش؟ فِرَارَكَ مِنَ الْأَسَدِ. The hadith says, run from the leper like you run from a lion. Run from a leper like you run from the what? A lion. In other words, don't sit with the leper. Don't eat with the what? Leper. Don't be around lepers because in most cases it's going to spread. Everybody clear this or not? Now someone could be with 100 lepers and not get leprosy at all. He could be with them for 10 years and not get what? A spot or anything falling off. No color discoloration, period. And somebody may go and shake one leper's hand and then what? Everybody understand this? So the hadith says, فِرَّ مِنَ الْمَجْذُومِ فِرَارَكَ مِنَ الْأَسَدِ. Run from this one like you run from a lion. That is pertaining to what? Is that there isn't such thing as contamination, infection, so on and so forth. And the hadith says, La adwa. There's no adwa, means that the leprosy or any other disease does not what? By itself, like it has its own will, which is superstition. Everybody understand this? La ta'arud bayna al-hadithain. There's no clash between these two what? These two texts. Everybody got this? And that's a whole long lecture in itself. Subhanallah, maybe the Muslims, people talk about the miracles in the Quran, perhaps, Allahu Alam, perhaps the Prophet ﷺ was the one who mentioned the concept of what? Infection and germs. How long ago did they figure out what causes sickness and illness? I saw that. Not too long ago. They figured out what is the cause behind what? Huh? What's the cause behind what? What's the cause behind what? The sickness. Everybody understand this? Comes from what? Oh, we got to go back to the medical books now. Right here. Al-Muhim, we can agree on هذا هو. And before this discovery in Western Europe, many people say Britain, the United Kingdom, we won't go too far in the facts and the details. They didn't necessarily what?
Good hygiene.
No, they didn't know. They didn't know what caused Disease or sickness? The disease, are you sure? Disease is deeper. Disease, sickness, I don't know, whatever word we use, the marad. They did not necessarily know what? About goodness. And look at this hadith now. The Prophet ﷺ, he said to do what? He basically said what? He said what? He said stay away. He said what? Stay away, run away. If you saw a lion, Abu Hamza, not in a zoo behind a cage, a lion walking on a van wake, which is not far-fetched. It's not what? It's not far-fetched on the van wake. You see all types of things walking up and down the street. Wallahi. It's not that far-fetched. What's the first thing you want to do? No, you're going to try to what? Especially if it looks hungry and ferocious. You want to what? You want to run. So the hadith is basically saying stay far away from what? Sickness and people of what? Sickness. Allahu Alam. To you as a medical mind, what does that sound like? Is it the Prophet is establishing the concept of what? What causes? Is infection. Is it being spread? Allahu Akbar. Right. Enough of that for now. What's important is, this hadith tells us is that there's no what? La adwa. The disease itself does not what? Jump and spread. It doesn't have a will. In other words, all of these brothers in this room, I have the illness, and the illness itself says, I'm going to jump on you and skip him. And this is what the pagan Arabs what? Used to believe. And that's when the Prophet said what? La adwa. He says there's none of this. Wala tiyarata. Nor is there any superstition pertaining to birds or anything else. The hadith then says, it says here, وَأُحِبُّ الْفَأْلِ. He says, but I love something called fa'l. I'm fond of something called fa'l. They asked him, what is al-fa'l? What is this something that you do accept and you don't abolish? He said, al-kalimatu tayyibah. He says, it's a good, fine statement. I go somewhere, I meet someone, assalamu alaikum, kayf halik. Shake your hand, I give you a good smile. It makes you feel what? Comfortable. A good deal. I'll buy the car. You go somewhere, you say assalamu alaikum. And unfortunately, like many Muslims, they just look for someone else smile or they'll nod their head. They'll do this. You say assalamu alaikum, they do what? It's sad. A person may say, I don't want to what? Buy the car. But the Prophet, he was fond of what?
Eloquence.
Everybody understand this? Eloquent speech, good statement, a good, fine, wholesome statement. Not superstition, but as a positive sign. A sign of what? Positivity. He made an exception to what the Arabs used to believe in practice. Everybody understand this or not? Khayr, inshallah. The author says that this narration is Sahih. It says in the footnotes, this collected by Imam Bukhari, Imam Muslim, from the narration of Anas ibn Malik, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. What's important is that's the end of the chapter. It's upon us, inshallah, to our grandmothers, our grandfathers, the older brothers, the older sisters, our neighbors, our co-workers, what we believe as Muslims regarding superstition, whether they are Muslims or not. You, alhamdulillah, understand Tawheed, you learned, you grew, you were traditionally trained, you studied the Quran, you grew with the correct way and practice in Aqidah. But can you say the same about your what? Your old grandfather that came right from the country or the island, or he came from the 60s, he accepted Islam, Nation of Islam, or whatever the case, any type of Aqidah or practice, which is what? Against the Quran and Sunnah. You, the second generation of Abu Bakr, the third generation. But can you say that about what? All the people that you come in contact with regards to Muslims. So if you learn something, it's your duty to do what? Pass it on. May Allah Azza wa Jalla protect us from this sin, whether it's a major sin or a minor sin. Allah Azza wa Jalla truly knows best. Jazakumullahu khairan.